So I am back and I am here to talk a little bit about walking in our purpose. I am really big on motivational messages and educational messages as well. Wherever this finds you, hope it finds you in a good place. But in case it doesn't find you in that place where you yourself understand your purpose and know exactly why you're here, why we were born into this life, then I hope I can motivate you to try to seek that inner calling that you have within you. Um, and I want to say that a lot of times people are really, really lazy at their dreams and they're lazy at their purposes. And in order for us to get to the place where we want to actually where we're actually seeing success, we've got to put in that work, right? And oftentimes people don't want to put in the work. What they do is that they're very laid back, they procrastinate a whole bunch. And then I think that we believe that because we have a dream, it's somehow going to land in our lap. We believe that people are going to just support us and tell us, yes, yeah, you know what, this is why you're doing so and so. So I'm going to help you to get there. It's going to probably be one of those enlightening moments where you're going to realize that no, people don't just jump on your bandwagon. Oftentimes you won't find the support. And oftentimes, what you'll find is that, well, all the times, in order to get to where you want to go, in order to accomplish that dream, you're going to have to put that work in. And too many of us are lazy at putting the work in. We don't want to commit ourselves to that level of work or that level of commitment or that level of doing, and therefore we stay in the same place over and over again. If we keep putting in nothing, we're going to get nothing out of it. I think we should all have that thing about us where we have a level of respect for ourselves. And when I say that, I mean, when you have accomplished certain things in your life, when you have, or likewise, if you haven't done what you're supposed to, even though you have this dream of doing it, but you haven't done it, you're kind of minimalizing your own prospects in life, in terms of where you can go. And what happens as a result is that you kind of lose that respect for the person that you are. And in order for you to gain that type of respect, you're going to have to put in that work, that heavy work that it takes. Like, you don't just wake up tomorrow and become successful. You don't just wake up tomorrow and get everyone on your bandwagon to support you. You don't just wake up and all that dream that you have is going to just happen. Like, literally, you have to put in the labor into becoming what it is that you want to. And I'll tell you, or use myself as an example. For example, I would say that for me, I have a certain level of respect for the type of work ethics that I have. I have a certain level of respect for where I came from, in terms of I could have chosen to just be a teen mom and not go back to school or not go to college, I should say. I could have chosen to just do whatever it is that I wanted to do with my life, which is probably nothing, right? For some people, it's absolutely nada. And I have that level of respect for hard work. I have that level of respect for knowing and understanding what my dreams are, and to go after it. There's a certain level of respect that I have for me as an individual. There's a certain level of respect that I have for me as a woman, knowing where I belong as a black woman as well. There's a certain level of respect that I have for me as a wife, as a mother of my children, as a professor. There is just and where, again, my hard work that I've put into getting to where I am today, and of course continuing on. So, if you don't have that, that drive in you to do something else other than what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what it is that you've always gotten. So we all have to put in that hard work that we so that we can accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. It doesn't just happen. There's a certain level of personal development that we must put in, right? And someone says that the key to a good life is that personal development. Personal development meaning, again, in terms of your education, in terms of the hard work that you put in to accomplish what it is that you want to, um, in terms of leveling your salary to a certain amount, in terms of being able to get out there and just build relationships and foundation, build your own foundation through the relationships that you have formed over time in terms of business relationships and so on. So all those things matter. What do you bring to the market, for example? What's your value? We have to have some level of value that we bring to the market. Like your employer cannot just look at you and say, okay, well, I'm going to hire you because you have a nice shirt on today, or "Yeah, I'm going to hire you because of this and that." They're not concerned about what you look like. The key is to be hired, because of the value that you can bring to their company. At the end of the day, they're concerned about what monies you can make them, right? So your value can multiply even more so when you know who you are, where you're going, and what it is, what assets it is that you bring to the table that can help you to elevate either yourself, of course, definitely in terms of personally, and as well as the company that you work for or your own company that you're building. So this whole getting to the next level, so that we can be successful in this life, doesn't it takes work. So I want to encourage those of us who are sitting there with dreams still there, dreams still unclaimed, that you've got to go claim it, that you've got to work hard, that you've got to develop your own little philosophy on this life, right? In terms of success, what it is that you want, how is it that you're going to accomplish it, what kind of work does it take to get there to where you want to be. Once you have developed and you have answered those questions, and sometimes it takes some doing to understand, the full purpose of it all, or why or to get to the why. But however, you don't, sometimes the why doesn't just come. Sometimes it's you doing it. It's the action that is required in order for you to get to where you want to go. And then we should never also forget that, even for those of us who are we're go-getters. We get up and we get things done. It comes at a price, and it comes at a price sometimes of our time in terms of where we spend it, how we spend it, right? But it also comes at a price in terms of our relationships at times as well. It comes at a price in terms of leaving friendships behind. People may not necessarily understand where it is, and they say that those who look to the future, kind of, uh, they look selfish to those people who look behind. Meaning, basically, me looking forward, me wanting to go progress, me wanting to take care of myself, to be, to not be inclusive or bring everyone along with me sometimes because they don't know where I'm going, how I'm getting there, or they don't believe in my dreams. I have to shed those people off. So it may look like I'm being selfish, but in reality, it's just the price that we pay for success. So we oftentimes have to leave people behind. We oftentimes, our relationships, sometimes even cousins and family members, we leave behind. Sometimes they think we're too bougie, that we act like we've gotten someplace and we don't want to talk. But listen, you have paid the price so hard to get where it is that you want to go. The last thing you want to do is to have people around who don't see your dreams, who don't believe in it, who don't necessarily want to support you in any ways, and they don't mind ruining that dream. So, you have to make that decision to move on, and, to not be bothered by the people who you've left behind. And they say that the only time you should be looking backwards is to see where you've come from. So sometimes we just gotta be selfish like that. So yeah, we do become selfish as we go, but I don't think it's a selfish way in terms of being greedy. It's more like a selfish way in terms of taking care of ourselves, understanding where it is that we want to go, and then saying, "Listen, there are people behind us. There are people next to us who really don't want to share in that same type of dream, and those people who don't mind seeing you drowned." And so therefore you must cut ties and you must move on. So that price does come heavy sometimes, because we don't always want to just be selfish and leave those people behind. Sometimes we wish we can bring them along. But, I take comfort in knowing that not even Jesus took all his disciples to the mountaintop. He only took three. And so if he only took three, then, who am I to challenge the fact of how many I'm taking along with me? When those people, if they're on my team and they're ready to grow with me, those are not the people that I'm talking about. They're those people who are on your team. They're willing to grow with you. They come along, they help you grow, and they grow themselves. And those people are the people that you attach yourself to, because you don't mind helping them grow because somebody else has helped you grow. So you're giving back. However, I'm talking about those other people who are lazy at their own dreams and don't mind seeing yours sink. You know, One of the things that I tend to do is I tend to do my things before um, I actually say to people. So, I would start something and then talk about it after. So there are a lot of people that don't know. They don't even know I have this channel. They don't know that, I have all this stuff going on, and they're right around me, literally, I swear. They have no clue in terms of what it is that I'm doing. And these are people that are very close to me. They're clueless, because you sometimes you just can't tell people your dreams, the people closest to you, that is. So I'm here in a public space saying all this, and I'm not afraid to say it, because a lot of times the people out here in the world or in the universe aren't the ones that bring harm to you. Those are the people that will, come by your side and embrace you, and the whole world will want to see you do good, except the people that are closest to you. They're the ones that will, decimate your dreams and tell you can't do it, and question, who do you think you are, and not want to, support you fully. They will literally, silently, just pray against you. And when God has got it, yes, indeed, He's got it in His hands, all of it. Um, Yet there are people out here who don't mind seeing you sink. And so for those people, this is one of the reasons why I, tend to not tell folks closest to me what it is that I'm doing. But there are some people that, of course, do know, and those are the people I needed to consult with. I wanted to know their opinions on, drinks. I wanted their opinions on food. I wanted their opinions on their own ventures that they've had, and how did that last, or that they have currently, and how did it work out. I wanted their professional opinion. I wanted their opinions about failure. I wanted their opinions about success. I wanted them to be involved in that process. So yes, those people I called upon, and they're people who've got their stuff. So you don't worry about, them wishing you bad. Even if they do, I mean, whatever, you still needed them anyway. But so far, my reception from all those people, very, very positive. And I'm very, very elated to say that they've offered some wonderful advice, and they've been able to help me to make good decisions going forward on my project. And once again, this isn't a huge project. This is a small project compared to what I plan to do in the future. But I'm not one of those people who want to jump in and spend a whole $100,000 on any project whatsoever. Go borrow it from the bank, and then I'm in debt and don't know how I'm going to pay it back if the project falls through, and blah 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 blah. That's not the type of person I am. I'm not irrational at all. I make rational decisions based on my scope and analysis, or market analysis, and research, and so on and so forth. And of course, knowing my own, understanding my own restrictions in terms of budget, what it is that I can afford, what it is that I can't afford out of pocket, and not pushing it to the point where um, you are indebting yourself and not being able to do the basic things that you need to. So, in other words, what I'm saying is that I should be able to cover my lifestyle that I have now and still be able to do my project. And so far, so good. I'm not pulling from, one place to do the other. I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm not doing all that stuff. I'm really running along smoothly with my project. And so I'm thankful for it. But once again, not everybody's going to be in support of you. So you've got to do your thing sometimes in silence to the very people who are closest to you. Steve Harvey said this on one of those motivational videos that I listened to, and he says that let me see if he says to quit running away. I'm reading it. Quit running away from your gift. Quit running away from your gift. Um, we're all gifted in certain ways, and we must understand what our gifts are. Um, he says to find what you love to do and it wouldn't be work. And we've heard that terminology before. Find what you love to do, and it doesn't become work. Now, understanding, let's go back to where he talks about understanding your gift. Like, I know my gifts, I understand what my gifts are. I've always understood what my gifts are from the time I was in my, I think maybe 18, 19 years old. I knew what my gifts were. And I'm gifted in certain things. I love to plan. I am a type personality, so I like to see things done in a certain way. I'm very orderly. I am also very, very good at public speaking. I am good at, seeing projects through. I love working on projects. And that's one of the reasons why I think, the professor life called me, because I see each classroom as a project every single semester and each student as a project as well. And I've got 3.5 months to make that project work. And every time that project is over, I love to see the success. So I'm a very project oriented person. I do not do good sitting in offices for long hours. I get bored. I lose my mind. And, I'm really, really a stable person. So it's not me at all. So I know my gifts and I know where I'm limited and I know where what I'm really, really good at. So for that reason, when I heard Steve said, to quit running away from your gift, I am thanking the Lord that I have never, since I found my gift, I've never ran away from it. I've always stayed put because I understood that that will take me to where I want to go. I understood the importance of education, and I understood also that I'm very gifted in terms of study, advance myself through education. So those things I understood about myself from very early on. That I love school, and that I want to project myself or propel myself through schooling. Um, so those are my gifts. I am good with people. I'm good with communication in terms with people, and I'm really, really good at making entire teams work in terms of my classrooms, or if I'm working in a project, if I'm doing decoration, leading up my team, leading us to a successful outcome of my particular bride's request. Those are things that I'm good at. So whatever your gifts are, please learn them, know them, and be great at it. Be great at it. Whether it's an audience of one, two, three, or even 300, you do your best, no matter who's looking, because you never know who is going to be looking eventually, right? Um, Always have confidence in what you do. I believe in having confidence. And, people sometimes mistake confidence for bragging or boasting. It's not that, but you have to know. And I think confidence could go both ways as well. So you have to have enough confidence to know that you can succeed, and have just not too much that it can ruin you. So then it becomes more of an audacious kind of thing, like like you just kind of are too much of yourself, and you get into in your own way. Meaning that there are people, you ever met like a really really pretty person, a pretty girl, or even a handsome looking man, and they become really ugly really fast because you're like, oh my god, they're so full of themselves. And and then you might meet a person that is absolutely just an average looking person, but they're the most beautiful soul that you've ever met. um, just because they're just a beautiful human. And there's something that attracted you to that person who is not so what they will call physically attractive. So I think that that level of confidence is needed, but not so much that it's so you know boastful, and comes off as if you're just too much. um, and I think having too little or too much will throw you off in either direction of negativity or positivity. So it's good to have a nice balance. Get away from those people who hold us. This is another key thing. We should get away from people who hold us to our limitations. If I remember like about maybe 10 years ago when I opened up my first Facebook page, 10 or 12 years ago, opened up my first Facebook page, and I started searching for some high school friends. And one of the things I remembered one of them saying is that, oh my God, you've changed so much. And I'm thinking, dear Jesus, it's been 20 years or so at that time, right? And if I had not changed, there's something totally wrong with that picture. Like, literally, we are expecting people to change. Like, you shouldn't be the same person you were in high school. It's 20 years later, and I'm hearing, oh, you've changed so much. And they weren't talking about looks or anything like that. They were literally talking about the fact that my personality, how I've developed, my mannerism, and so on. So we need to know that we are in a space where we're absolutely confident, but at the same time, we are not too much, and we have grown, and that we've grown. And knowing that we have grown, we can allow other people to assess us in the right way as well. What else did I want to say? Have positive affirmations that we use. Positive affirmations will do you well all the time. I don't know if you've ever looked at the show Mary Jane, and with Gabrielle Union, and everywhere Gabrielle in her house, and she's this really successful journalist who struggles with relationships and men, and well, I don't know, she knows who she is, but she also has a whole bunch of family members that depends on her. I mean, it was just a wonderful show, and I loved it. And I used to see it on Netflix all the time. And of course, she did her last season, I think about maybe about a year ago or so, which broke my heart because I love that show. Anyways, everywhere in Mary Jane's house, she had all these affirmations all over. She had it on her bathroom mirrors. She had it on her bedroom wall, on her bed, all over. And when she was walking through the door, she had all these affirmations. And affirmations, basically, just quotations, positive thoughts, things to get her started, get her day started. And the thing about it is that we can talk ourselves into literal defeatness, like to just be defeated. Truly, because the mind, you have to actually have, kind of like what we said before, where you have to smile 7 times in order to get rid of one frown, and so, or the damage of one frown. So we have to literally work harder at being happy, at being satisfied, right? People, human beings. So we have to constantly have affirmations around us that will help us out. We don't say things such as "I'm confused." You can say, and this is actually by Ianla Van Zant, and she says, "Say instead, I am awaiting clarity on the vision that I have." We have to have positive things. Like I always say, like white folks will say certain, and we were talking about playing with words or playing with language. Um, and white folks will say things like, black people will say things like, for example, "Oh, I'm broke." And white folks will say things like, "Hey, I'm strapped for cash." um, you know when we say negative words, we tend to bring those negativity into us, right? If you were to let's look at the fact that when someone is killed in the line of fire, or when someone gets killed, a police officer, or a serviceman or woman, we say that they were killed in the line of fire, right? In actuality, more than likely they were killed, period. But we find these very fancy way of putting words. We find these way of making it look better, and it could be that they were accidentally shot, in the line of fire, of course, and during a raid or whatever it is. But they were killed. But we never say that they were killed. We say they were accidentally shot in the line of fire, and we find all these fancy words in order to put things over. Um, but whether we butter those words up, or whether we are straightforward with them, it's really sometimes a matter of culture, sometimes a matter of race and the way people talk traditionally, in their communities, or sometimes it has to do with age and all that stuff. But the realities of it is that for us people who are off to making impressions in this world, doing great things, making an impact, making changes within our communities, we've got to be in a place where we're constantly affirming through positivity and positive language, and looking forward to building not only ourselves but others through that same type of talk. Someone must have told Serena Williams that she was a great tennis player, for example. Someone must have told Michael Phelps that he was a great swimmer. Someone must have told, someone like Michael Jackson that he was great at singing. How do these people become the greatest? Michael Jordan, those people, all the greats in the world, all the goats of the world. How do they come to be who they are? Well, somebody must have told them. So this positive way of thinking, and or inciting people to do well, is really something that we should embrace, and not only for them, of course, but for ourselves. How do we teach children how to talk positively? Well, we start from the time that they're little. We start telling them that they're great. Like, I think, I have to share this news with you. My son just got promoted to corporal. Now, literally, this is a new Marine. And this guy, within 2.5 years or so being in the Marine, he's already corporal. My son is extremely disciplined. And it's not, like I said, this is not bragging, it's not boasting, but I'm just telling you, I just want to use experiences that I can connect with myself. He's extremely disciplined in terms of being taking care of his body. He was sick as a dog in California recently when he went out to the fields to train. And this kid was so sick, and I was like, Malachi, why don't you just take some time off? And he's like, oh ma, but we only have two more training, I guess whatever it is, training camps. I'm like, yeah, but these training camps are intense, they're this, they're that. Kid could hardly breathe because he was actually he had like an infection. um and he needed, it wasn't COVID, but he had an infection, and he just was coughing because of the dust. I guess it was very very dusty out there, which he had gone through before, because this is not his first stint in California, but on base. But he was just really really, this time around it just really got to him. He didn't stop, but his body, because he is just so well trained, and he's a black belt in karate, by the way. So he is just really, really well trained. He's so disciplined that there is no way that he would have quit. That's just him. So sometimes we have to be that way too. It doesn't matter how hard it is. We just have to keep going. Anyways, he came back to where he's stationed, out of California, in the Carolinas, and he just, again, they just promoted him to being corporal. Am I shocked? Absolutely not, because I know this kid. He's always been like that, very very disciplined, and very very progressive in terms of his thoughts. He knows exactly what he wants. He's built an entire, from the time he was about 11 years old, this kid has been writing down everything that he wants to be, everything that what he wants to invest in. He's been writing down the fact that he wanted to become a Marine, everything from since he was about 11. And when he got to high school, I have to tell you, I know I say don't talk politics, but by the time he got into high school, Trump was president. And I'm like, bro, I don't think this is a good time for you to be a Marine. And he's like, Ma, I'm going to be a Marine. So you can stop trying to talk me out of it. I don't care who's in office and who's not in office. I'm going to be a Marine. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, of course, he's already in ROTC in high school. And I don't know how many of us know what ROTC is, but ROTC is basically where they prepare you for military life while you're in high school. And so you do all the marches, you do all the flag raising, all that kind of stuff. So it's really, really disciplined thing that you do. So he was already in ROTC anyway. So to try to stop him, it wasn't even going to work whether he was in ROTC or not, because he's that disciplined. And again, he's been, since he was 11 years old, he's been talking about becoming a U.S. Marine. And he went into one of the most dangerous position in there. He didn't even tell me until after, because I guess he thought that I would just freak out. But I'm not that type of parent. I'm also really gung-ho with, I like outdoors. I'm really crazy about doing crazy stuff. I like motorbikes. I like all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was pretty okay. I'm like, I have this crazy mind about things. I like wild sports and, fast driving. And so for me, it was okay, because he's the son. I said before that if I was a guy, I would be into all that stuff, and I would be the one that would be out there doing all that crazy sports. Hi, Sherwin. How are you? And welcome to my live. Thank you. Um, so for me, it's just one of those things. So I am really really excited though, that he is that disciplined, and that he is that adventurous, and he's not afraid. And that's exactly who I am. I am not afraid to do things. I'm not afraid to touch places, or I admire when people can keep going despite whatever it is that may reach them. And I admire the fact that they're not afraid, or they're unafraid to actually do life their way. They're unafraid. Absolutely love Frank Sinatra's song, My Way. And that's just because I think I've done my life my way, the way I want to do it. All right. It's good to affirm your vision. So once again, knowing where it is that you want to go, why you're doing it, what you're doing, how you're doing it, affirm it, affirm it, affirm it, because you're going to need to have those things put in place in order to be able to get from one place to the next, understanding what it is that you're doing, why it is that you have to get it done, and understanding your ultimate goal in terms of where it is that you're going to. Some of us like beg God all the time for, oh dear Jesus, help me, show me what to do. God, dear God, please, 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 just kind of begging, begging, begging. We need to get to the point where we are listening for God's direction. When He's directing us in terms of where it is that we should go, please listen. because he's telling us, he's showing us. And I don't know for many of you, but I think for most people in society, I should probably say that way, in the mornings, right around maybe 4 o'clock, 4 a.m. or so, or even 5 o'clock, it's when our minds are most intuitive. It's when we tend to think most constructively about the things that we want to do. So if you are not practicing getting up at a certain time sometimes just to connect with your intuitiveness, with your God, for me, of course, I believe in Jesus, but so for to make that loving connection, and to listen for where God is leading you. He doesn't make a mistake. Your purpose will be made clear if you listen. But you have to want to put in that time. You cannot be lazy at your dreams either. So when he gives you some directions, you got to work it out too. It doesn't magically land in your lap. People don't magically come in and support you. You don't magically get what you want. This isn't magic. This is hard work. And you've got to put into it what it is that you expect to get from it. And then finally, I want to say that if you don't absolutely love what you're doing, run from it. Like, there are so many of us, and we said this before right here on one of my Motivational Tuesday session sessions, where we said that there are people, a lot of us here in the United States, we work hard. This is one of the most hardworking country that you will find, and I don't care what anybody says, whether you're black, white, pink, or purple. We work our asses off in this country, so don't be fooled. We work hard in terms of our education. We work hard in terms of our professions. Some of us, some people put in 70, 80 hours a week, when they're at the top of the ladder, making six-figure income. So this is a hardworking country. And the fact, maybe that's why we're one of the most stressed countries, most over medicated countries, most unhappy, because we're busy doing everything else except just, we were busy working, and our work life is so associated with our happiness that we don't like to stop working. And so therefore we end up working even harder to gain more happiness, and more happiness doesn't come from working harder. um, but we must position ourselves where we can have a balance between hard work, and accomplishments, as well as enjoying life. Have you heard? I don't know how many of us heard this, but we are in a place where, uh, coming out of COVID, they're saying basically that a lot of people are upset with their employers, because they don't want to go back to work in the office. They would rather be home, and work from home. So I think it was 1,000 people that were surveyed, and about maybe, I guess, 30 to 40% of them were very disgruntled with their employers, saying that basically they're upset because they don't want to go back to the workplace. They would rather stay home and work. So we are at a place where people are realizing that, listen, this going to the office thing every day is very stressful. And I would rather be home and work from home rather than go to work, go to these offices every day. And it doesn't matter how fancy these offices are. I like being home, and I can be just as successful if I work from home. I told you guys that they had asked me to come back this summer to the classroom, and I told them absolutely not. I'm not. I'm not coming back to the classroom. I am going to be home. It was a choice because the college is not demanding that we come back. Of course, once they do, you have to. You don't have a choice. But I told them, nope, I am perfectly fine at home. I saw that my department school says so. Anyways, thank you so much. I love what I do. I do. I love what I do in terms of my teaching. I love what I do in terms of any kind of project that I take on. And so I'm not at a place where I'm unhappy with that at all. But I'm advising anyone who isn't happy with what it is that they're doing to seek alternative routes. You should not be unhappy doing anything that you do in this life. You should really enjoy it, whether that's motherhood, being a wife, being a husband, getting up and going to your job. It should be something that you absolutely love. And if you don't love what you do in terms of your work life, then you can change it and find something that would allow you to be you and allow you to enjoy life as well. All righty. Well, that's pretty much it. And thank you, Sherwin, for tuning in and hanging in with me. I appreciate you and every other person who will come to um, this live later on as well. Thank you. I am Donette. And when you're not hearing me talk about my project in Guyana, you will be hearing me talk about something motivational in here, something educational, or something that can help us to just change or impact our communities in the positive way. But primarily, this channel was created to talk about my project back home. And, I give it where it is that I'm at this point and where it is that I'm continuing to go. So thank you and have a great one. Bye bye.